Hey there, guys. I'm Sebastian, the Towering Inferno Fundora, and I'm about to watch my last fight with Daniel Drop Bomb Lewis back in February and provide some commentary. Let's go.
He's not. He likes to slug it out. He'll do well in the phone booth.
80 in reach. We checked him in at 6'6", and yet that is his fighting style. Look at this.
We knew what he was going to come in with, but I still like to use the first round as a testing round to see if he really does and go with his plan. And you can see right here that he was coming inside and trying to put pressure. But yeah, jabbing, keep trying to keep the jab out.
And you know what? He's got the right.
See him trying to rush in.
He wants to get in and do some damage, and this is what he's doing.
It's a right
good
hand
overhand.
coming back with an uppercut was Fundora. Looking out that southpaw jab. Was trying to get himself to the inside.
Yeah. We were working a lot of boxing for this fight. We knew he was going to be a pressure fighter. We saw from fights before. And yeah, we did a lot of boxing, a lot of leg movement, a lot of using a reach. I think this round displayed some boxing. Definitely the jab. It was more of a flicker jab, but definitely see a lot more distance in this round than the rest. A good fight right there.
You have stumping.
Yes, that's what I like to do.
We'll put our research team on that. All the collective resources of Fox and ESPN. We'll try to get
you. He had a tight guard the whole fight, but I definitely felt my punches piercing through and making way to the face.
First bout of the night here. Our heavyweight championship night. Have a very good-looking title fight coming your way with the always fun to see Emmanuel Navarrete, the WBO junior featherweight champions, coming up next against the Filipino Gio Santissima. Then we have our heavyweight title eliminator with Charles Martin, former belt holder, against Gerald Washington. And we will constantly keep you up to date on the arrival of Wilder Fury, what's going on in the locker room, and we will check in on the two unbeaten heavyweight champions all night long.
There's a good body shot right there.
If I'm Daniel Lewis, I'm selling out. And when I say selling out, I'm willing to get hit to get my way in and work that long frame of Fundora.
You know, it looks awkward, the way I fight, especially with the shorter fighters. But I never feel uncomfortable while I'm fighting. You see my arms almost tied up, but I always feel like my punches come in nice. And you could see throughout the fight, whether the guy's hurt or the way he looks, the punches definitely do come in.
End of one, our opening fight here on the Wilder Fury 2 pay-per-view. And there is the TV and production compound just outside here, and that is the Gypsy King. Always interesting.
You gotta love his suits. Comes in with different stuff all the time. Definitely a trendsetter. I remember we were up in the summit and met him over there, and I had to look up to his eyes. Me being 6'6", like, it's weird, but I think he's like 6'9" or 6'8". Crazy tall guy. But he's a wonderful guy, wonderful person, good attitude. His whole team, great people.
Of November 2015, when he defeated the long-running heavyweight champion Vladimir Klitschko to claim numerous.
That was a good fight. That was a good fight. I remember watching that fight. I remember watching that fight in Mexico. It was a great fight. Definitely a lot of technique in that fight. A lot of boxing. Who was craftier?
With Sugar Hill Stewart, his new trainer. Sugar Hill Stewart, who comes from the famed Gronk Gym in Detroit, the nephew of the late great Emmanuel Stewart, who of course, Lennox, you spent.
I remember watching this fight, commentator saying the jabs weren't coming out as sharp or more of a distancing jab, like more power into it, more of a flick jab. But it still, I was looking a lot for power shots to at least keep them off base as much as I could. And the flickering jabs just give me enough time to set up my left hand for uppercut or overhand.
Australia, Daniel Lewis. If I had to ask each of you, and you have the first-hand knowledge, and you are a boxing aficionado and former all-time great, if I had to ask each of you to define what
Definitely the uppercuts were the punch for that fight. I couldn't punch down because if I would have punched down, the overhand would have came in all night, and I didn't want that. He was definitely looking for that punch. You can see him loading.
Too many different styles, but the main
But we didn't want that one. So,
Yeah, from what I've seen from
so instead of coming over, or not over, but punching down and getting caught all night, we were looking for the punches, uppercut, boom, uppercut, boom.
I think that was one of his greatest gifts to his fighters, was teaching them how to use their attributes.
Easier to land too.
Right hands.
No one expects to see a punch from under.
He would say, man, get him out of there. We're trying to go home. That was always what Emmanuel Stewart said.
Yeah, I mean, when I first went to him, he wasn't trying to change my style. He was really just trying to dial me in, you know, use the style that I have now.
I think this is the round I started bleeding too. I don't remember what, if it was this round or the third round.
And Emmanuel felt like you weren't doing enough, and you had a moment in the corner where he yelled at you.
I remember
this man out of here, he's ready to go, and you did it after a couple
the night before, I was blowing my nose because I had a cold, and I started bleeding from the shower, and I was telling my dad I was concerned. That was probably the only thing I was concerned about during the fight, or of the fight week, bleeding from my nose and messing up my nice shorts and my white shoes. That's probably the only thing I was worried about. But that's boxing. You get hit,
Yeah, I mean,
you know, and things happen.
You know,
So.
Fundora, if you look at some of the things that he does right,
Yeah, look at that.
some of the things he does wrong.
Look how
One
nasty
of the
that
things
is.
he does wrong is leaning over, especially against a shorter opponent. He's
I like
really
that one.
bringing
That's a good
himself,
one.
which is a tall man, down to the shorter man Lewis's size, and it makes him easier to get hit.
And Lewis, like we talked about earlier, he's selling out. He's taking 2 shots to get his 2 or 3 shots off. That's why he's having success.
So glad you're with us on this pay-per-view collaborative effort between ESPN and Fox, and that means the great gift of having the co-hosts, Brian Kenny and Max Kellerman. BK.
Yes, thank you so much. It's so weird watching this, by the way. Max, this is what it would have looked like if Wilt had taken that fight with Ali. Just shoot him down. Remember that the classic shot? He was going to take the fight.
But yeah, the fight week was pretty cool. Got to meet all people from all over the world, Australians, British, people from all over were coming to watch this. It was such a big card. I was excited to be. First time fighting in such a big place. The MGM Grand was wonderful. For my 15th fight, I couldn't ask for anything more. You know, I thought it was a wonderful experience, especially, and then on top of that, fighting on a pay-per-view card. So it wasn't any little small card or any title fight. It was a heavyweight title fight with the 2 best heavyweights in the world. You know? And that just made everything more electric. So it was very exciting to be on such a big card with the 2 promoters, PBC and Top Rank.
Team up there to have Tim Bradley and Sean Porter, and then the longtime friends and all-time boxing experts of Max and Brian with our studio coverage tonight.
Yeah, by this round, I kind of figured out how the fight was going to be. It's going to be a lot of holding, a lot of pushing, a lot of just pure strength, but more of a bully type of fight. Because you can see whenever I would try to keep the distance, you jump in with punches like that.
Was trying to target that body there. Our ace reporter ringside.
So it was going to be a high intensity fight with just brute strength.
Got something from trainer Graham Shaw. He says, look, Lewis just can't walk right in. He's got to use his jab, use more head movement, and keep working the body. But we got to remember, Terrence Crawford was in camp with Lewis, or Lewis was in camp with Terrence Crawford. I said, Terrence, what does he do well? He said,
yeah, I remember them mentioning a lot that he was in sparring camp with Terrence Crawford, and he did like 29 rounds or something like that. But we're not 147. We're 54. It's a smaller guy. He's strong, definitely a world champion, but smaller guy and definitely not our height. So I don't know if, what purpose that held for him. I guess because it was a name, it made more publicity, you know.
That was his big takeaway.
Well, you know, anytime a guy comes into your training camp, they've got to learn something, because there's a reason why they're there.
Sure, it was a wonderful experience, though.
They've got to take away something.
Probably one of the best fighters out in the world right now. So.
Yeah, and if they're smart, they'll learn more from
Any help, or any work can help.
Learn from your mannerisms, how you treat people, how you carry yourself, your professionalism, like Joe just said. So good for Daniel Lewis. Even though Fundora is 6'6", certainly not fighting like a man that's 6'6". He's sacrificing his height.
And he's throwing the right punches. You got to throw an uppercut against Daniel Lewis, because that's
a lot of uppercuts. I threw a lot of uppercuts. Probably more than half of my punches.
Instead of keeping in that one place, ready for that uppercut.
And to be honest, uppercut's not even my favorite punch. They always mention that's my favorite punch. It's probably my best punch, definitely, but I like throwing just a straight left. If there's ever a chance I could throw a straight left, I'll throw a straight left. It's just a lot of these guys try to come in and put that pressure. So instead of what's going to come in faster, the straight left while they're already jamming me in, well, am I going to throw a straight left and get caught in the process, or just throw uppercut, which is easy for me. And maybe I have my hands up too, so it's easier to come off with.
Wilder Fury 2 is brought to you by Proper Number 12 Irish Whiskey, the finest, the tastiest.
I wanted to get a picture with the two heavyweights while we were over there for fight week, but I never saw them once during fight week. They'll come out during separate times, but I wanted to take a picture with Deontay on one side and Fury on the other, and me in the middle to see the height. I think that would have been a great picture. It would have been cool. Maybe another time, maybe for the third fight, but I think that would be a cool picture to take.
He knows that he put the work in, feels good about the weight, the conditioning, the new trainer, the nutritionist program. He eats 6 meals a day. And Lennox, he had a really bad habit in prior training camps of drinking a lot of soda, a lot of diet soda. No longer. For months now, we've been watching him everywhere he goes with a big jug of water.
That's good. I mean, water is great. He needs it, especially when you're fighting out here in Nevada. It gets dry, and he's not used to the conditions. So this is part of the conditions that you have.
Yeah, he jumped in a lot with the jab. He caught me a couple times with those. I think that was his most successful punch. His jab. And it'd be weird because he's a shorter fighter, but it landed. It landed a couple nights that night. A couple times. And I think that was one of his most successful punches. Maybe more because it was a jump in, it was more like an explosion type of punch. But never at a time that I felt hurt by any of the punches. I just think that one was one of the more punches that he landed.
In your chest and in your body at all. You should have strong arms and a strong jab and long enough punches where that guy can't even get close to you.
Well, Fundora is trained by his father, Fred.
You know, I spoke to his father, and his father said, yes, they want to work more on distance.
But every time we got hit with a punch or tapped with something, we always counter back. This was, say, he hit us with one, we come back with 2 or 3 punches. So we always made up for that punch, which you have to do, especially with this caliber. The Australian Olympian, and then earlier in his career, when he was an amateur, he used to fight at 165. And we might be the taller fighter, but he definitely was the bigger fighter. You can't make the mistake. We're tall, but we're not big people. I'm not a big person. A lot of these fighters come and drop weight to 154, and I walk it this way. And I can weigh in tomorrow. I'll make 154. I walk at 158, 156. I don't jump too crazy.
Bit of separation. Fundora trying to fill it with a left hand.
Fundora has some nice short shots inside. He's not a bad mid-range inside fighter.
Yeah, we practice a lot of mid-range, inside range, because that's what we're used to. That's what usually the opponents try to come in and do. But a lot of them, they come inside, because we let them inside. They come inside, and they don't know how to do anything. they say they're gonna break our ribs and knock the tree over. Well, then they come into that position, and then nothing comes, and then they get hit by uppercuts, and they get hit by overhands, and the fight doesn't play out as well as they thought it would be.
Now, what was interesting with Lewis is the post-Olympic lull he had, because he didn't fight for a couple of years. He ended up working construction with his father, and he gained 60 pounds.
I tell you what, no one expects the top fighter ever to be a good fighter on the inside. I think that's one of our advantages. It's probably more of an advantage in our reach. You know, on being this height, it's the what's that word? Just being unpredictable. Maybe not anymore, that much anymore, because we have a couple fights now that's been televised or on internet. But we definitely were unpredictable in fights before, because you see the top fighter and you expect a boxer, someone who's going to use his reach and use his legs to move away, not someone who's going to sit there, stand in the box and try to break your head with you. And I think that's what makes our style exciting too. It makes the fight enjoyable.
Well, there are two very big Tyson Fury supporters, Stephanie McMahon and her husband Triple H.
I didn't get to see Triple H. There's a lot of celebrities that night. I saw Steve Harvey. I took a picture with Steve Harvey. I remember I was walking down the hall, and he pointed straight to me. He's like, "I know who you are," and I pointed right back to him, because who doesn't know Steve Harvey? I was like, "I know who you are." I watch Family Feud all the time, and I thought that was a wonderful moment. You know, I got a picture with him, and we talked a little bit. It was pretty cool. That was probably my second favorite moment, because obviously the fight would be first, but that was right after fighting him. That was pretty cool. It's nice to know people like that are watching you.
Meanwhile, round number 5 here, scheduled for 10 with Fundora. See the focus on the face of Wilder, who's had his family with him this week, his fiance Telly Swift, his dear friends, and his longtime trainer JD. They go all the way back from when Deontay was a young man. He was struggling to make ends meet. He was working multiple jobs. He was a beer delivery guy. He was working out at times, carrying kegs and running down the street with kegs. And he went to JD's gym there in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. He said, "Hey, maybe I could make a little money and be a journeyman fighter." Journeyman fighter? How about all the way to 42-0-1 and the best puncher in the world?
Yeah, you see a lot of banging. And we're learning from the mistakes, because we got punched a couple times during this fight, with the last couple fights too, but we're definitely learning. We're definitely learning how to place our heads, if we're ever in a position like this again, not to get hit as much, not to stay that much there in the box with them. We have to like the commentator said, we have to make it almost our fight. And I'm not saying that this isn't my fight, but more of a use our advantages. Our advantages more, use our reach more, use our legs more, and just use the gifts that God gave me. You know.
Yes.
They're taking him through the. Now they're taking him through the kitchen to avoid the.
We're definitely working on it. We've been working on a lot of distance. But I still want to apply pressure.
Full on Henry Hill, Goodfellas style, to get to the heavyweight world title fight, as he will then wrap around the perimeter of the arena.
Nice too.
Here he is, going by the coffee service table of the back kitchen of the Grand Garden Arena as the heavyweight champion of the world.
They made Wilder walk pretty far for this. Or not pretty far, but they recorded the whole entrance.
And of course, you have 17,000.
They probably got him all the way from his hotel room. Crazy. I get nervous with them just recording me walking into the venue.
For Deontay Wilder, the 11th defense of his WBC title.
And then all those people around you.
On the line. He currently is tied
Crazy.
with his idol, Muhammad Ali, for the second longest streak of consecutive WBC heavyweight title defenses at 10.
I've been bleeding on my knife since a kid. I think it's because my glasses, it squints a lot when I don't have my glasses on. There's pressure on the nose or something like that. I remember them telling me something like that when I was little. And then we live in the hot valley. It's only natural to bleed. I think everybody bleeds from the nose right. But yeah, bleeding from my nose was nothing crazy. It just didn't want it. It doesn't look nice for the camera. I'll tell you what, I didn't expect Deontay Wilder and Fury to happen like that. I really thought Deontay Wilder was going to knock him out, but Fury came and he manhandled him. He did it nice. Very exciting win. I like that win for him. That was a wonderful win for him.
The great ones have a switch, and they know when to turn it on and when to turn it off.
Plus, he likes.
And this shows you that he can do it all. The box, can bang.
Something we can relate to.
I like to see him and Joshua. I like to see the third fight with him and Deontay first. Then I like to see Joshua and him. That would be a good fight.
He said it was a great time, and he was watching the Pope, and he learned some stuff from the Pope as well. So
he had a wonderful visit in Rome. I was able to visit with Telly and Deontay in January, and a few weeks removed from the return from Rome. And he was brought over there by the WBC because they were presenting Deontay Wilder as a sportsman who can bring about peace. And if you talk,
I think it was around here I got my second win.
Celebrate people, and he loves the goodness of people. And he was brought over there, and he was touched greatly.
6th or 7th round.
By the visit.
You see the
Francis, and he came back in
punches coming in more effective. Not that they weren't coming effective before, but now they're definitely coming effective without responses back.
To go to the Vatican and to be able to spend time with Pope Francis. We are in round number 6 here of Fundora against Lewis. We have marveled at the size of Fundora and yet the range that this fight has been fought at. CompuTrack, which is another tracking service of CompuBox who tallies the punches, they have it at 51% of this fight being fought at close range. Right now, Larry Hazard's senior scorecard has Fundora, the taller fighter, up 49-46. As you see, the WBC champion has made his way down now to the floor level of the Grand Garden Arena, and he will soon take that turnaround and he will enter his locker room where he will settle in and get ready to be taped up. They will have the referees visit, the final instructions, and then what we have heard.
The only thing I didn't like that much, we threw a couple punches, but didn't work a lot of the body. There's a lot more head shots. I think I should have worked a little bit more body. But we'll make these adjustments for the next fight, definitely. Definitely if we fight an opponent of this size again, you gotta work the body, no matter how tall they are. You start up the bottom and then come up top. It makes it that much easier.
Got an 80-inch reach.
And,
his opponent has a 71.5-inch rech. Why are you getting hit with those kind of shots? This just shouldn't be happening. He's got to make these adjustments, and even if it's not tonight, he's got to go back to the drawing board after this. And his father's got to learn how to use the reach and the gifts that he has.
Dre, at 6'6", Lennox at 6'6", he's landed 7 total jabs.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah, and they were worried about my jab not being thrown enough. But I think they were so worried about my jab not being thrown, they weren't focusing on other fights like, or not. They weren't focusing on other punches like the uppercut or the overhands or the hooks. They were so focused on the jab, like the jab not being thrown, which is an important punch always. But there was other punches to be thrown too, and it shows throughout the fight that I was throwing different punches, not just the jab. I wasn't just worried about the jab. Because when you're fighting a taller opponent, even me, myself, fighting a taller opponent, I'm going to expect the jab. Southpaw or right hand, doesn't matter. I'm going to expect the jab from a taller opponent. They're going to use their jab all night to set up everybody. But if that gets out of play, and I'm going to have things set up for that jab to counter off that jab, but if that jab's not in play, it just messes up the whole plan. It might make it easier to come in, but then you're not really expecting these other things.
There's boxing, then there's heavyweight boxing, and it's just different. And
that's right.
I have experienced that firsthand in just watching how this promotion has roared up and the fire has been fueled with national and global interest as the week has gone on. You go back to the glory days of the 70s with Ali and
In this round, this is probably my favorite. This round has my favorite punch. There's an uppercut, I think, around 1 minute or a minute 30.
But then the years
There's
of
a
the
slip right there.
two brothers who, of course, are not going to face each other.
But I'll show you guys where this uppercut's at. That's probably my favorite punch.
American fan wasn't there. Instead, the attention was paid to Floyd Mayweather, to Manny Pacquiao, and we had a golden era of lower weight classes. But how different it is when it's the two big men with these personalities, with these glossy records on this kind of a stage.
It's big. It's massive.
And by this round, by the rounds, this one and on,
Different styles.
we figured that we should start turning him. I think it was the uppercut. We're gonna go back real quick. Look at this uppercut here. Let me do it again. Look at this uppercut leading up. Boom. Did you see the head spin up? That was my favorite punch of the fight. I think I definitely clipped him with that one. That was, if any punches to be noticed, that was definitely the punch to be noticed. But yeah, my coaches were telling him to turn him more because he was coming more frontal, but more leaning almost. Leaning and pushing, wasn't even into punches anymore, just coming forward to come forward. So we just do like a matador and move the bull around like that. Go around the fighter instead of standing there in the box with him.
One thing to have a rival, but it's another thing to have that rival and be willing to toe the line and face that rival. And that's what Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury have displayed. That's why we're getting this rematch tonight. They have the same spirit in them as the man sitting next to me and the Holyfields and the Alis and all.
And it was successful. It was definitely successful. I saw it throughout the rounds, more and more.
But you got to be willing to face that rival.
Get more punches in, and without getting countered back. And that turn, the switch, moving around him, moving to the side of him, it worked well.
My rivals, you know, Riddick Bowe wouldn't face me, so he couldn't be. He was my rival, but he didn't face me. He didn't want to fight me.
No, let him up. There you go. And too often in this day and age, we see good fighters on either side, same weight class, but they're not fighting for one reason or another.
That's the beauty of tonight. Guys willing to get right back in there and fight. Guys willing to take on challenges.
Both guys, you know, went overseas to challenge each other. So, you know, that's remarkable and, you know.
That was a good over.
The right thing to do.
And look at the result. Look at how it's embraced and the reaction from not just the boxing fan, but at this point, the mainstream public.
When I won the World Junior Championship in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite round.
1983.
Well, at least one of my favorite rounds. I think I have two.
The best man was Tyson, but he didn't like to take planes, nor his manager liked to take planes, custom auto. So me and my trainer, Arnie Bing, we drove.
Definitely around this time I had my second one coming out.
We found out who he was.
I felt more relaxed in the ring. Not that I didn't feel relaxed in the beginning, but definitely more relaxed right there. You see me laughing. Always try to have a good time in the ring. Never
7 rounds in the books here, but
never feel pressured or anything like that.
And of course, we are working our way to Wilder and Fury. It'll be only the 3rd heavyweight championship rematch in history after a draw.
And these guys are the Daniel Lewis team. They were great people. Took a couple pictures with them after the fight. And they invited me to Australia to come with them whenever they want. They're good people. I have nothing bad to say about them. There's nothing bad to be said about them. Just great people overall.
Sometimes pause, but unbroken and recognized chain going back in history to the 1800s. Wilder, of course, won his belt in the ring against Brazil in 2015. It was that same year that Fury claimed that lineal crown as well as belts against Klitschko. Round 8 here. Fundora with a connect advantage of 131 to 111 in this fight. Larry Hazard Sr. scores it 68 to 65 for Fundora. Looking forward to seeing our title bout up next at 122 pounds between the extremely active. This guy fights all the time. He turns around to Emmanuel Navarrete and says, where's the next fight? He's going to have another title defense coming up next against Gio Santissima.
A little body shot there.
Santissima comes from...
And that's when really the body comes more effective right here.
The pride of Mexico.
Another little body shot right there.
A 30-1 record.
Because the guys are already getting tired. It's a couple rounds already in. You know, you want to get them as much tired. If you want a stoppage or you want to get a knockout, you want to place it right. And throwing the body shots, they put you in the position to get the punch you want.
You know, Fundora, you know, he's not throwing that right jab.
But those are things that need to work on.
He's really just putting it out there. He's really concerned about his right hook and left hook. But I think he should throw that right jab with a lot more power to keep Daniel Lewis off of him. Daniel Lewis is saying, you know, there's nothing you're throwing to keep me off of you. So I'm just coming in there and throwing my punches.
Like that.
Yep.
I mean, nothing, you know, a little jousting. Just putting it out there, but not with purpose. Every time I look at the CompuBox numbers, I shake my head. I see Fundora here now at this point. That southpaw jab, only 11 landed.
Not good, Joe.
There's a left hand that comes behind it, but he's just looking at it as a rangefinder for the moment.
That's why I mentioned the way Fundora must be trained.
Another body shot
You
there.
can see it on display right now. If his father trained him to be a tall man and to fight like a tall man, you would see that. You see that right jab out there. Sometimes he'd keep it out there and just kind of paw with it. Sometimes he'd stick a hard one. Sometimes he'd probably have to get warm because he's trying to hold it out there to keep the smaller fighter at bay. But you would get the sense that he's trying to keep his distance and keep his range so he can get those big shots through the way he needs to. And you just don't see that. He sacrificed his height this whole fight, and he's fighting like a small man.
The little turnaround.
Trey,
See
by
the
the way,
little
you asked
turnaround.
earlier about
Get away
his
from
brother who fights. Is he also tall?
anything
Crackstaff
he's planning to throw.
6'3" for Alberto, and
Okay.
he is a super middleweight at 6'3".
And then I remember, I think it was around here, they started asking how tall my siblings are. I'm the tallest, I'm 6'6". My older brother, Alberto Fundora, he's 6'4". My younger brother, who's in the service right now for Air Force, he's 6'5". My little sister, she's about 5'9". And those are the taller people in our family. The other ones are still growing, still little kids. So. But all the rest of us are about finished growing. But yeah, we're all pretty tall. Comes from my dad's side of the family. You know, he's not tall. He's about like 5'11", but it comes from his side definitely. You got a lot of scratches. You get a lot of those scratches from holding.
Start round number 9. First of our 3 fights prior to the heavyweight championship fight between Wilder and Fury. A pro for 11 months is Daniel Lewis. Made his debut in March of 2019. This already his 3rd fight scheduled for 10 rounds. He's gone the full 10 rounds once before. Here's round number 9. 5 fights in Australia. This is 2nd fight in the U.S. Probably comes over, looks across the ring and says, wow, you've grown big here, don't you?
Actually, the more I look at this fight, the more body shots I see. I think this is like my 3rd time watching this fight. I don't really watch a lot of my fights. I should.
Get his foundation strong. Get him to a point where he can be a rangy guy who's physically strong.
But yeah, I see a little bit more body shots.
Now, Dre, when you see a tall,
but we definitely need to work on throwing more body shots, especially on fighters like that, to slow them down. Maybe they won't come in as much, and then when those jabs will come in better, you know, more of a stronger jab. And it keeps it a little easier. It makes the job a little bit easier to move and to come off with long range punches.
When a tall, rangy guy like that with skinny legs, that means
Another body shot there.
All you have to do is hit him on the chin, and he has no legs to hold him up.
Well, you were firing down at David too and Mike Tyson.
Those guys were hard to knock out because they had tree trunk legs.
Did they ever?
Yeah, especially Tua.
He was just a human square.
Oh my goodness.
He was a block.
But you see how I was talking about earlier,
If you're not careful, it could be a short night.
how he had a tight guard up, but the punches always came in. I felt like the punches always came in. They landed somewhere besides the gloves itself. And you can see right now, during the 9th round, you look at his face, and you can definitely tell that the punches were actually landing.
That jab out.
Because he always had his hands up.
Fundora's got a nice left. He throws it straight. He throws it over the top, and he's got a beautiful half, kind of hook, half left uppercut that he throws. That's a natural shot.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of leverage behind it, especially, you know, the fact that he's so rangy and lanky. You know, all he has to do is throw it with some speed and some accuracy, and the power's there.
But the bloody nose, the extra punishment or the excess punishment, if I'm the father of Fundora, that's not okay, that's not acceptable, and I'm going to let my son know that, because when that kind of stuff is accepted, especially early in a career, it's only going to get worse.
Good luck.
End of 9.
Yeah, we're coming into the last round. This is my favorite round. This round right here, the last round, definitely was my favorite round. Because if I wasn't boxing any other round, I definitely boxed this round. I just had to seal the deal, stamp it, and make sure we won this fight. I thought we were winning most of the rounds, but this right here we had to stamp to make sure this definitely was our fight.
Him up.
10th and final round. Larry Hazard Sr. has Fundora up 88-83, having checked off the last 3 rounds, according to our score ringside.
Having a little closer.
Jump to the side. Make sure the jabs off a little more. You know, definitely the last round. If you still have gas in the tank, you can use it all. You have to use it all and make sure you go out with fireworks. That's if you can. That's if you're not tired. And I felt like I still had gas in the tank. So, did a lot more moving this round. Look at caught a little bit.
We get through this fight, I'm banning him from working on the inside for at least 2 or 3 months. You're going to learn how to use your height and your reach one way or the other, son.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, there's no reason why he shouldn't be using his attributes, and he's got that big, long.
Just those torso and those.
Yeah,
those
I mean, he's got to use it. He's got to use it.
But even inside, you can see his legs. They're not sturdy. They're not stable. He's falling over his feet. That means he's got to get his body physically strong. Then you teach him how to work his range and how to work.
See more movement.
Just use all his God-given ability. And hey, if you can't do it as a coach, bring somebody else in, not to take over, but to help. You owe it to your son to do that.
Good left
well,
hand.
He's doing it this
That was from full range.
For some reason. He should have been doing it a little bit earlier, but he needs to do it this last round because he knows Daniel Lewis has to pick up the pace and try and knock him out.
He only does it when Lewis allows him to do it. As soon as, good shot right there, but as soon as Lewis wants to press the issue, all of a sudden he sacrifices his reach.
Time that left hand did Fundora moments ago. Head on our unofficial scorers card, Larry Hazard Sr.
Another left hand. But you see he's not coming in as much anymore.
On the connect advantage as well.
Wait, right there though. Let's see. The pressure's not put on as much anymore.
There, as he threw a jab and he was inside, he moved his head from
it makes it easier to move.
Which is right because he's a tall man, easy target.
And to use my range.
See the jab rate for Fundora. So struggle to have consistency there, not landing over 3 jabs in any round tonight. Only 13 connects with the jab in total as we come to the final seconds here of our first fight of this pay-per-view from Vegas. World title fight is coming up next at 122 pounds. Then we have the IBF
I definitely can say
and then
that won the
big
fight
one of the
clean.
most anticipated
That
fights
was
in the sport
not an
in
easily win, but
long time.
it was a good win.
Undefeated heavyweight
Definitely a good win
champion
versus
beating
an
up
Australian Olympian.
Deontay
He
Wilder
had the background
Tyson Fury.
and
Some blood
signed fighter with top ranks.
of the
So he definitely had a pedigree to be
the 26-year-old Dan
to show and to fight and be there.
And there is the 3-year pro having gone through the 10-round test.
I'm sure he got a lot of fans that night too.
California. From the fighting family,
That was a great night.
his brother,
I'm glad I was there. I'm glad I got to share it with such a gentleman of the ring, inside and out.
a couple
And
times.
I can't wait to fight
Fundora
on such a big card again.
move his mark
You know,
14-0-1.
it's gonna be really good. I can't wait for all this, with everything going on inside the world, to end, to stop, or at least to slow down a little bit, give us a break so we can go back into boxing, so the fans can watch something live or at least something, make something better, you know, of this situation. Boxing needs to come back. It really needs to come back. Something's missing. I feel like something. Sports need to come back in a whole, but definitely boxing. It's not the same with the fans not being there or having one person in the corner. You need that excitement. You need people to watch. We're entertainment for a reason. But with the situations going on now, you know, we want everybody safe too. So just gotta deal with everything right now, step by step. You know, no biggie.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Steve Weisfeld scores the bout 97-93. Max DeLuca sees it 98-92. And Glenn Feldman scores the bout 99-91. All three in favor of the winner. And still undefeated, the Towering Inferno.
And you know what those scores are? I don't disagree. It might have been his fight, a closer fight for the shorter fighter, but I felt like I did the damage. I did what I needed to do to land my punches and not receive as much as him, and that comes through a win. That's it for this video. I hope everybody stays safe. Make sure you guys wash your hands, wear your masks, and let's get boxing back on track. Make sure the world gets better first, but let's get back into boxing. I can't wait to fight again for you guys. Thanks for watching, and see you guys later.